Episode 33. Some quick orders of business. First, thank you to Adam's dad for the Crown Peach. I'm not partaking, I'm sorry. Just trying to stay off the booze for a little while. It's been a long summer, man.
Oh, I thought it was just because you're like on call.
On call for what? What job?
The baby, he meant.
Fatherhood?
That too. I mean, I can't really show up. I mean, I guess I could, but that wouldn't be a good impression. It'd probably call CPS before the baby comes out. Oh, we got a drunk father over here.
That's what I was worried about. Like, you have a few beers and you go, oh, shit, now I got to drive to the fucking hospital and stay up all night.
I mean, I guess it's a good excuse if you get pulled over. Like, sir, why are you swerving? I got a baby on the way. I got a baby on the way. Slurring my
Allie, act like you're in labor.
All right, so 33, I believe, is the episode. So, yeah, thanks to Crown Peach. Be sure to check out the website, 3starrecruits.com. Why the fuck is he smirking over there?
He's trying to silently raise his microphone.
Oh,
God forbid I smile in this room without someone being like, why are you smiling over
you're
there?
mischievous, we know. All right, 3starrecruits.com for the website. We have blogs, we have sports betting advice, we have daily fantasy advice, which I cashed last week. Did you cash? You cashed. Did you cash?
Daily fantasy?
For DK? DraftKings?
Yes, well, I lost like $5 in the end, I think.
Oh.
It was close.
If you see Dan, just double check with him. I did once, but just ask him if he hates money because I forgot to put the lineup in.
He did win last week.
Nah, he told me he didn't put the lineup in. He forgot to put a lineup in because they drove 2 hours somewhere.
Oh, he sent me a picture. He won like $100. So I don't know what he ended
Either
up
way,
doing. He said, he didn't put your lineup. He texted me. He's like, look, I did it all on my own.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck you, Dan. Anyway.
It's aggressive.
Yeah. Blogs are up, sports betting. So a bit of news. We talked about it off air last week, so I'll make it official this week. Technically, collectively, as 3-Star Recruits, we have a second podcast now. It's called DFS Units. It is on Apple. It's on Spotify and all the other platforms as well. I will not be putting this on YouTube. It'll be a 10, 15-minute.
It's a great 10, 15-minute listen.
Yeah, it's just 10, 15 minutes to the point, brief of my picks daily, possibly. I don't know if it's going to be an everyday thing. It's really going to depend on like what's going on. Like I'm not going to upload a 10-minute episode for the French Open if there's nothing else going on.
You didn't put anything on it?
No. So yeah, DFS Units. It's 10, 15 minutes. Actually, I think the longest one right now is like 11 minutes, 13 minutes.
13.
Yeah. So check it out. I'm 1 for 1 for today's 2 picks. I split. So yeah, there's my business. Let's get into things. We have Stat Boy.
Hello.
Across the way, off the air. Have you picked up any pussy yet? Because people are mysteriously wondering what that voice is over there in our videos. Have you used it as a pickup line? Like, I'm that voice off camera.
No, but I'm going to try it now. Is that a challenge?
Yes.
Accepted.
It's like Batman, but Statman.
Yeah, we're going to need an update on that.
Your light goes in the air. It's just numbers.
Yeah.
Building the brand over here, huh?
Yeah. We've got the Polish rifle.
Oh, yeah.
We've got white chocolate chip.
Yeah.
And then there's just me, Kyle.
Sometimes when I want to fall asleep, I'll just cut to parts where I know Russ is talking. Just hear those soothing, deep, rich sounds that come out.
Should I make like
just like a 15-minute cut
sleep
of
assistant
you just,
videos? Or
yeah,
something?
like read me a bedtime story and send it
that
on
ASMR
message.
stuff.
We'll get
With the waterfall in the background.
3-Star Recruit app, but it's just Russ making
Yeah.
bedtime noises.
Reading lullabies.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Read children's books.
Yeah.
Next
Green
podcast,
eggs and
I do.
ham.
You know, I think it's a little underrated, the level of sometimes awkwardness sitting on this side of the table is because there's one of me looking at 3 of you. But whenever I say something that's maybe off color or not right, I get all 6 eyes on me, zeroed in at once, and I know when I'm not spot on. So,
Or when your phone goes off and we see that shit-eating grin come across your face.
what did I say? Don't hate the player, hate the game.
How's the love fern, by the way?
I had to water it.
Is it getting bigger?
Swelling quickly.
Oh my god.
He's referring to a cactus. All right, let's get into it.
I hope.
Let's see. NHL Draft.
NHL Draft was going on. I don't know if it's done yet.
I heard the second round took like 4 hours today. So
round 1 was last night. That's the one most people care about. And then rounds 2 through, 7 or whatever happened today during the day. Rather anticlimactic.
Kind of what you expected.
The first 3 were as I expected, 100%. So I've mentioned Alexi Lafreniere a few times. He went number 1. He is a generational superstar. He's already gotten a lot of comparisons to Sidney Crosby. So he was drafted by the Rangers 1 overall.
I'll stop you there real quick because Russ and I texted a few times last night. When he got picked, so Lafreniere's 6'2", 200, stands up to hug his family, and Russ texts me. He's like, dude, his dad must be a brick shit house. He must be 6'6", like
bigger than his dad.
270.
His dad was a mountain.
His dad was huge.
They showed his Lafreniere's stats, 6'2", whatever. And like you said, the whole family stood up, and his dad was towering over him. I'm like, if he's 6'2", his dad's like at least 6'6", and
It's a monster.
it's crazy. So Lafreniere, generational talent, went to the Rangers. The Rangers are going to be must-see hockey for the first time in a long time this year.
So that was my next question. Do they have other pieces there that they can put around him?
Yeah, they've stocked up on young talent the last couple of years. They had the second overall pick last year. They brought in a few big free agents. They hit the jackpot with a late round goalie in Shesterkin a couple of years ago. They're going to be a contender rather quickly. So,
Well, good for the city of New York. It's about damn time.
Yep. So the next 2 guys, Quentin Byfield and Tim Stützle. I heard it pronounced like 3 different ways last night. A German kid. We knew they were going 2 and 3. It was just a matter of
Who went where.
So LA picked Byfield second. A big center, 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Highest drafted African American player in NHL history, second overall.
Sweet.
And Stützle went third to the Ottawa Senators. This whole coronavirus situation, having to play in the bubble, has caused financial strain, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better term, for all teams. So the salary cap, which has gone up every year for a long time, goes up about, between $1.5 and $3 million every year. They've said it's basically going to remain flat for the next couple of years.
It's probably a good idea.
Because of that, I expected a lot more trades, cap-strapped teams trying to unload players in the draft. A draft pick for a player who's maybe overpaid kind of situation, and that didn't happen. There's been a couple trades the last couple days, but overall, I thought the last 2 days were going to be chaotic, and they just weren't.
It almost felt like the GMs forgot, like, free agency starts on tomorrow, Friday.
It's Friday. Free agency starts Friday. This is Wednesday night, and we're recording. So usually there is a couple more days between the draft and free agency, but next couple weeks could be chaotic.
Yeah, with obviously a lot of teams just getting out of the bubble within the last couple of weeks. It's a quick turnaround for everything, so. And I don't know how much the GM. I don't know if I assume all the GMs were kind of in the bubble with them, but I don't know how much. Obviously, they had. There's not much they could do in the bubble. Obviously, your team's there, but I mean, they had to have been watching video and shit.
Yeah. So there have been a couple of small moves. Yesterday before the draft, Max Domi was traded for Josh Anderson. That's a Columbus-Montreal swap.
Wasn't there a goalie traded out of Pittsburgh?
Yep. So goalies
Saw
seem
it on
to
Twitter,
be
Taylor.
Dumpster fire.
Goalies seem to be the talk of the NHL right now. So there's been a few moves. Yeah, Pittsburgh has had. Well, they've gone from Marc-Andre Fleury, asking him to trade or waive his no-trade clause so they could put him in the Vegas expansion because they had Matt Murray. Then Matt Murray was their starter, and Tristan Jarry. I assume they drafted him. I
think so.
Tristan Jarry has since taken over the starting role for Matt Murray. So they signed Tristan Jarry the other day, which basically made Matt Murray expendable. So he was traded to Ottawa today for, I think, like a second or third rounder. He's a guy I was hoping Buffalo would be in on, especially at that price, but he was not.
I think Buffalo needs to be in on somebody.
They need a goal.
Or they're only somebody, and Eichel's going to be like, I'm out.
This next year is going to be rather critical for
Yeah.
Eichel's happiness. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And they got a guy in the draft to not help this year, but 2 years down the road.
Yeah, so they drafted Jack Quinn, 8th overall, and in typical Buffalo fashion, as soon as they drafted him, there was already people pissed off about it, questioning it, because Marco Rossi was available. Rossi, it's basically known that he's the better overall player.
And they were teammates.
Yep.
Rossi, Ottawa 67s.
Yeah, major
Juniors.
Canadian major.
Yeah,
junior
so
hockey.
Quinn and Rossi were teammates there.
Yeah, so they passed on Rossi, who people believe will be the better overall player, but Jack Quinn they think is the better pure goal scorer, not necessarily overall player. So the advantage to that is Quinn's a guy you could put on Eichel's wing
Or
Dylan Cousins' wing and probably will rack up goals. But if you have to spread these guys out through the lineup, Jack Quinn probably can't necessarily drive his own line. That's
Right.
the question, whereas Marco Rossi potentially could. I don't know. 18, 19-year-old kids, so time will tell on that
Yeah.
one.
it's always hard with the NHL because there's always,
Right.
3 guys that play next year. Everybody else you might see the following year after.
So keeping with the goalie theme, we've been watching that situation in Vegas. So Vegas did officially sign Robin Leonard to a 5-year, $5 million per deal. So he is clearly their starting goalie now, which makes Marc-Andre Fleury expendable. So I expect him to be traded, bought out, something, not in a Vegas uniform.
Right. There's a lot of big name goalies
Yep.
available for free agency. So
Yep.
So as Sabres fans, you too, would you like to see Fleury in Buffalo?
I mean, maybe they need I think they need a veteran goalie, but someone to step in with.
If they signed him on a short-term deal, like a 2-year deal, I'd be okay with it. But they need to find. He's clearly past his prime. Is he serviceable for the next few years? Yes. Buffalo needs to try it. They need to attempt to find their goalie of the future, though, and he is nobody's goalie of the future. So if it were a short-term deal, sure, I'd take him. He'd add a little stability there this coming season. But overall, he doesn't excite me.
They gotta hope Pekka Ukalainen pans out.
Yep.
Is that how you say it?
That's not
even close,
no,
is it?
No. Uka Pekka Luukkonen.
Uka Pekka Luukkonen. I was
And
close. It was there.
Maybe it's on the briefcase.
The other news, so Braden Holtby had a down year this past year with Washington. Over the last 5 or 6 years, he's been one of the best goalies in the NHL. He is basically, Washington's letting him walk to free agency, and the rumor is, we spoke about Henrik Lundqvist being bought out by the Rangers. The rumor is Lundqvist and the Washington Capitals have a deal in place. They can't make it official until free agency starts on Friday, but it sounds like Henrik Lundqvist is going to Washington, which, in my opinion, is probably the perfect scenario for the aging veteran to start and chase a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. He just obviously they're always a cup contender, make playoffs at least. So
Washington does have the young kid, the young Russian goalie. I'm forgetting his name now.
Samson.
That doesn't sound very Russian.
They will be
I drink
splitting.
vodka, I stop puck, very good time.
So I don't think Lundqvist was just the automatic starter. I do expect them to kind of split, probably a 50%, 50%. I'm going to try to look his name up real quick.
Yeah, overall, obviously a lot will happen here in the next couple days.
But yeah, free agency starts Friday. The draft wasn't as exciting as I expected. Free agency, I do think, will be.
I didn't watch it. Was it
crazy.
similar to how the NFL did it?
So there's, it was kind of awkward. Ilya Samsonov, by the way, who is 23 years old. He's Washington's goalie of the future. So I think he and Lundqvist will be splitting starts. Gary Bettman's the NHL commissioner. He was, I think, at NHL. He was either at NHL headquarters or the NHL Network headquarters. I don't know which one. Hosting it virtually. All the teams were at various locations. Most of them were
on Zoom.
Were in their arena.
They just like unmute their mics. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. We'll take the next pick.
So Bettman would introduce, first overall pick going to the Rangers, and then the video would cut to the Rangers boardroom. They would make the announcement. That's one thing the NHL does different. They don't hand a card off to the commissioner like the NFL. So in the NFL, the commissioner
he reads it.
They submit it, and he reads all the picks. The NHL has always done it differently, where they bring team representatives up on stage, and somebody from the team can either be the GM, the coach. Sometimes they'll bring in a guest, maybe a player that just retired, and somebody from the team will make the announcement.
They do that in the later rounds of the NFL.
Yeah, so the NHL does this.
Maybe when they kick Goodell's ass out of the league, they can start doing it that way.
Much like the NFL draft, they had video cameras in some of the top players' homes or wherever they were. Some of them were, rented out restaurants or whatever. Some of those cameras were absolutely shitty. They looked like horrible webcams.
Dude, I texted him. He had already
not on NFL budget apparently.
he had turned it off already. It was like pick 22. I just flipped back over to see where they were at, and they're like, I forget. I don't even know who it was. They made their pick, and they're like, all right, let's watch the reaction from the player. It was 15 seconds. And he's just sitting on the couch, and they're like, all right, and they just went back. It was like 15 seconds. It just on that much of a delay that it wasn't like working.
Maybe that was his reaction. Like, oh my god, it actually happened.
I got to go there and play. That's not how this was supposed to happen.
When you get drafted to the Browns, 15 seconds of no.
Yeah, it was like they didn't have good. It's like you could have cut that a little bit quick. I don't know. It was.
There's also rumor from a few people that this was not live last night.
Oh,
that it was recorded either earlier in the day or maybe even the day before.
Oh, that's interesting.
I struggle to think they would keep all that information secret. You would think someone would
be tweeting or something,
some of that news, but that's the rumor, is that it was actually pre-recorded. And I saw a couple of people commenting on Twitter that they were like, I hadn't thought of that, but now that you say that, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, and not that they obviously NHL couldn't do this, but obviously every player that they showed in their house, like one of the parents would run and get the hat or the jersey of that team. So I don't know if the NHL sent that. Obviously, a few of them like with Lafreniere, like you could have sent. You could have sent the top 3 jerseys and been fine. But later on, like there was a guy at like 15 that you could see the dad and the mom was like going to get the hat.
Yeah,
but so it was very weird.
Yeah,
like I said, NHL could have sent every team's hat to the house, but
I mean, it's like college signing day though. They've got the hats. They know the teams that they've been talking to.
But
you don't talk to the Stars
but,
and then the Avalanche and then all of a sudden the Red Wings.
Yeah, but I don't know how much because there was a kid last night.
Derek Jeter got drafted by the Yankees. Never talked to him.
There's a kid got drafted last night, and he ended up he wasn't even in the top 100 of anybody's board, and he drafted like 28th overall.
Really?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
That's a really bold strategy. Do you know that about Jeter though?
I did not.
He thought he was going to be a Cincinnati Red.
I know more about his gift bags. That's more my style.
Oh boy,
that is your style. How different baseball would have been if Jeter went to the Reds.
Yeah,
would have been weird.
Yeah.
I still would have hated the Yankees.
Why the fuck do you hate the Yankees? They're not even in the National League. They haven't played the Braves since '99. Like, what's your hang up?
I think it's just everybody. We grew up here in New York, and everyone just talks like they are. Every year, they're God. You can't beat them.
I'm a Yankee fan. I'll talk like that.
Not everybody, but most. 95%.
The vast majority do, though.
How many World Series do the Braves have again? Remind me.
So that's an argument everybody goes back to. It's like, I won a title in 1923. I'm like, okay, good. Congrats.
How many years have there been baseball? MLB about 120, maybe.
I don't know. I was just always curious
so it's
why.
Pretty crazy that you'd win. What is it? 27.
I've just always been curious why he treated it like a rivalry and they're not even in the same fucking league.
That means just 1 in 4. 1 in every 4. You just expect him to win it at that point. Do some simple math.
That's like 5.
Whatever. 27, 125. I don't know.
Either way,
it's close.
But they've won 1 in the last like 20 years. So
Didn't they win one like 4 or 5 years
Yeah,
ago?
Didn't they win it?
2 then.
Yeah.
Right? 9.
No,
No.
20 years.
Wasn't it? Oh, we have smartphones in our pocket.
Come on, stat boy.
Yeah, look that up.
This is
Anyways.
gonna feel good to look this one up too.
Before we move on to Yankee hatred, the only other big piece of NHL news they announced is Gary Bettman said they are targeting January 1st for the start of next season.
A couple months.
So they kind of made that official. January 1st historically has always been the Winter Classic, the outdoor game.
It's like the one hockey game I watch a year.
So there's no point in doing an outdoor game without a full stadium of fans. So I'm not optimistic that would happen this year unless something drastically changes in the next couple months. But it would be pretty cool to have a one-day season opener
What if they did
that's
in
just
Florida?
an outdoor game.
See that got approved?
I did.
There would be no way to have ice in Florida.
But I
Lot of
mean,
money.
yeah. When he announced January 1st, I'm like, are they going to try to do outdoor game? Like, what are they? What are they going to try to do with it?
I don't think we'll see an outdoor game this year.
Let's backtrack a second because I think Adam just said, "What have they won about one in the last 20 years?" I'm 24.
They've won
and
way
in the
more than one in the
time
last 20 years.
I've been alive, they've won 5.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and look up the Atlanta Braves.
It's 1. We already know.
Good. All
I
right.
don't know. You know.
Settled.
One total. That's all they have.
Oh, in the last 20.
Oh.
5 since 2001.
2009, 2000, 1999, 1998, and
So those over 20 years
1996.
ago. I said 20 years.
I said in the time I've been alive. Pay attention.
Anyway, Russ,
Christ.
you and I want to talk?
I mean, I still hate the Yankees, but I don't flaunt it.
Right. I'm a Yankee fan. I don't flaunt it.
I do hate LeBron, though. So, anyways.
I think that,
So last night,
last
I turned on the Lakers game. I turned on the NBA championship. Let me word it that way.
He did. He said the Lakers game. I heard it.
I turned it on kind of for background noise while I'm playing a game on my iPad, to be quite honest. The first play I see when I turn this game on just ingrains why I hate LeBron. It was, I don't know, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, somewhere. I don't even know exactly when it was. Kyle Kuzma has admittedly a bad pass, attempting to get the ball to LeBron, probably because LeBron was threatening to trade him if he didn't pass it or something. Kuzma tries to pass him the ball, and it wasn't a great pass. The ball gets picked, goes the other end. LeBron goes up to block and fouls. I want to say it was Jay Crowder, but I don't know. Fouls somebody, okay? LeBron immediately turns around and does, you know that motion he makes.
Yep.
Right at Kuzma.
With the cry face.
Right at Kuzma, and just throws Kuzma right under the bus. And it was a prime example where Kuzma knows he just fucked up and had a horrible pass, right? For this supposed leader to just immediately throw him under the bus, and you don't show up your teammates, right? Baseball, you don't show up an umpire, right? You don't show up whoever. He just has to go out of his way to show up Kuzma and make him feel like a piece of shit.
Should have been the opposite. You go over and say, hey, don't worry about it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
if you're a leader, you don't do that
yeah.
to somebody. Now, if you want to rip his ass in the locker room when nobody's seeing, go ahead and do it. I'm fine with that. You want to, whatever, next day you're looking at game film, point it out a couple times. Fine. I'm fine with that. You don't do it on the court on national TV. It's just a lack of leadership.
Yeah, and that's right. That's the problem, and I agree 100% with that. And that's the whole NBA, right? All the stars on the team, they all do that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Show up your teammates on the court. That's what they do.
It's not just him. I admit that. And I admit he's a hell of a basketball player. But when it comes to this whiny, to be honest, that's the same reason I'm not a fan of Sid Crosby.
Right. Yeah.
He's gotten better, but early in his career, the amount that he would cry to the referees was unbelievable. And I see a parallel between him and LeBron when it comes to that stuff. LeBron is much worse about throwing his teammates under the bus. You think about the J.R. Smith when he didn't know the score. Oh. Now, now that was a lot worse. I admit that. Yeah. But that classic picture of him just making him feel like shit on the court. So
I also turned on the Heat game last night.
Nice.
And
you beat me on that one.
I had the Lakers first half minus 4.5 points. So I turned it on. There was like 8 minutes left in the first quarter. They're actually at that point they were down like 4 or 5.
First half.
Yeah, it was the end of the first half. It was the second quarter. So I turn it on, and I'm watching it, and it's back and forth. The Heat finally come back. It's tied. There's like 2.5, 3 minutes left. From like the 5-minute mark on, the Heat, no bullshit, should have went on like a 10 to 15 point run if they would have just hit half of their shots. It was some of the worst basketball I've ever seen. I'm like, here we are. This is the NBA, and this is why people don't watch it. It's not. Sometimes it's not just the theatrics. It's just, to me, it's just shit basketball. It literally looks like better athletes playing pickup basketball. There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing out there. They're just running up and down the court. There's no. That's why I'd love to see them go to more of a college structure, play a true zone, and be more tactical. It was awful. I mean, I'm watching Rondo threw a pass, similar to like you're saying, like Kuzma screws up. Davis posted somebody up, and I think Rondo threw him a pass. He threw it 6 feet over his head out of bounds. Like, he's calling for it, and he just like went to lob it and just out of bounds.
I watched probably.
It didn't cover, by the way.
20 to 30 minutes of actual time, not game time, and I can't count the number. I can't stand listening to Van Gundy, but I can't count the number of times he was like, why are you shooting that? They just run down the court and throw it up from 10 feet beyond there.
It looks like glorified AAU.
It's crazy.
That's all AAU is. It's not about what your team does. It's check me out. I want to go to college, so let's throw up some numbers, some stats.
And they're constantly like, I don't know, it was maybe like fourth quarter. Lakers ran a pick and roll, and it got an easy layup. Then they come down, they're like, they're going to run the same action again. I was like, it's a goddamn pick and roll. The whole NBA runs it.
Yeah.
Like, can't you figure out how to guard that?
There was a one point like, this might cover. This 4.5 might cover. LeBron comes down the court, goes up for a layup. And before the ball even got close to the rim, he was midair. He looked like he got sniped from like the upper deck from somebody with a 308. Goes into like his theatrics mode. And then they show the slow motion, and some guy barely touched the bald spot on the top of his head, but you would have thought someone shot him.
Don't touch the ball.
And then he's not getting back. I'm like, come on, man. Like
I can't stand that. That we may have already talked. We did talk about this topic, but when they talk about him having potentially been a football player, if he had that mentality in football, like he would have died.
I would have been
run
curious,
right out of that
like,
league.
Curious how he would have changed if he played football versus basketball. Because obviously we've talked about in the NBA, like you have to like flop. It's like soccer, right? You have to flop to get a call.
Yeah.
Speaking of him playing other sports, did you see a couple weeks ago? I'm not a fan of him. I think Colby Covington's an idiot, but did you see that going around Twitter?
No.
People literally having a debate on whether if you put LeBron and Covington in an octagon, that LeBron would beat his ass.
No, not even close.
I'm like, they're like, he's 6'8", he's 240. I'm like, and
he knows zero about striking and
He
grabbing.
does not have fighting skill.
yeah.
And he's
You know how tall he is on his back?
He's probably like a teddy bear. He's probably like a fucking teddy bear in there.
You know how tall he is on his back? Same as everybody else.
Yeah.
That's where he would have ended up just getting mauled.
He's a little thicker, I think.
Jesus. I'm like, people are morons. Please don't watch UFC either. They're like, he'd beat his ass. He's 6'8", 240. I'm like, Covington would just maul the shit out of him.
Yes.
I don't even like the guy. But yeah, so to that game, I didn't cover the 4.5 because they sucked there for like 3-4 minutes into the second quarter. And then Tyler Harrow just actually demolish it. He gets like a half-ass rebound. Nobody goes for the ball. Ball goes up.
Yeah.
The only person playing basketball is Harrow. He grabs it, turns around, and throws it up like there's 2 seconds left on the clock, and the ball goes in. So they only won the first half by 2. And then he does the same thing. Yeah, but then he does the same thing.
Yeah.
The game was 7 or 7.5, depending on where you put it in and what time.
Yeah, I saw video clips of that. People watching the TV when he.
There was no. Did you see this?
No.
But so the line was 7 or 7.5, depending on where you put it in.
Yep.
Okay.
Like
They were up
9.
They were up 9. Harrell comes down the court with like 7 seconds left, gets a shot off for whatever reason. He's still playing hard, like
Nobody defended him. Game's over.
Hikes up, just not even hikes it up, like pulls up from the top of the key, bang, knocks in a 3. Lakers don't cover.
Now it's a 6-point spread.
1.1 second left.
That's an expensive shot right there.
So my only thought there is people keep talking about, oh, now all the people that bet the over didn't get it and they're feeling horrible. Well, there's probably just as many people that bet the under or bet the Heat plus 7.5 that are now feeling good.
Right.
So
I'd be curious. I don't know what the numbers were, but obviously with the Heat winning Game 3, I would put money on Lakers. Like they were not going to lose last night. It's just a matter of covering it. But
so my logic, if you listen to that that podcast I threw out, was I'd rather take the first half minus 4.5 than 7.5 at the end of the game.
right.
Kind of for that exact reason, like they just come down, the game's over, and something like that happens,
How many
or they're up
times-
20, and the LeBron comes out, Davis comes out, and they just start garbage time points, and now your shit doesn't cover.
Yeah, because then if they're blowing them out, and then LeBron and Anthony come out, and then Heat get to within 10 with 3 minutes left, they're gonna put those guys back in, but they've already made up 10 or 15 points on the score, so it's.
That's why I went with the first half. I'm like, they should play basketball for at least a half.
Well, probably didn't help. LeBron had 8 points at halftime.
Some of the worst. I mean, both teams shot under 44%, I think, last night from the field.
It's definitely
awful.
the worst game of the 4 that they've played.
Awful. Anyway,
when's that draft? And
I don't know if they've announced it.
I have no idea.
is that little
NBA draft, Statman.
He's falling asleep
No,
over
I
there.
was waiting to pose my own question, but
is that what's his name? Their Latracy Ball.
LaMelo.
LaMelo?
Yeah.
I
think he's going to get drafted?
There's talk of him going number 1. That kid that played at Memphis. I think there's like 4 or 5 guys. It's probably just going to be in need of who gets.
Okay.
I don't know if they've said they haven't done the lottery yet, so I don't.
So he will get drafted then early.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He'll be top 3 probably.
He won't be like the other brother, the Chinese fighter.
Oh, LiAngelo. They got
Oh yeah. Oh,
got
no.
arrested.
Oh,
Didn't he go to jail in like Hong Kong or something?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I was confused when you said that.
Oh, he did.
But
Him
yeah.
and all his teammates at UCLA
Yep.
got in trouble over there for stealing.
before we
Yeah.
get too far, the NBA draft is November 18th this year.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's not even close when it normally is, so they're way behind. It's usually like
I thought I
July
saw
or
something.
August.
The NBA was expecting like February or March to start.
wow.
So
Jeez.
But yeah, to your point, the ball kid,
Yeah.
I've never thought he was that good of a player. I just don't. Not
did-
team
I
basketball
don't
player.
think
they said he's the best of the 3, but
I don't think there's any good reference though to watch him against.
Lithuanian
Real-
basketball.
Right. He
Yeah.
played high school. He played at that stupid academy, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
He probably played in some league his dad made up, and then went to Lithuania. And
It's like assumed talent for some reason.
Right.
It's like
I think
the
his dad did
Kardashians.
make a league. I don't think you're far off. Didn't his dad
No,
make a
no.
league or something?
Yeah, he had something going on,
Yeah.
but
You're
Is
not,
it called
you're
the
not
Big
wrong.
Baller League?
the only day,
no, it's different.
the only idea his dad had that I thought was good was he was going to start some league in Vegas for players that didn't want to go to college, but they had to wait that 1 year after high school. It was
Yeah.
almost like a G League for undrafted players to go play against some sort of talent, but didn't have to worry about going to college.
It'd
I
be
actually thought
interesting.
that could be a moneymaker
If
league.
if they did that, that'd be interesting. How many guys would go do that?
Didn't they change the rule now, though? Like you can leave, you can go to the G League now.
You can go straight to the G League now.
Yeah. They did change that now.
They just did, but yeah,
Yeah, I never thought that ball kid was that good of a. I just thought,
yeah. Obviously, I've
lazy.
never seen him play.
That's
obviously, because
number one. Hey, that fits in the NBA. Never mind.
I see him being a kid that gets to the NBA whenever he signs his first big deal and then just stops putting in the effort to
it'll
to
be
work out to
interesting.
actually
'Cause-
win.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because obviously Lonzo did not play well in LA.
Yeah.
He went to New Orleans. And he's actually
Yes.
being a team player. He's playing pretty well.
Yes.
See, Lonzo's another one too that I think maturity-wise, skill-wise, he's better than LaMelo. But he actually put in the work when he got into the NBA. He wasn't, in my opinion, that good to get drafted where he did. He should have been drafted there. He wasn't that good of a player going to the NBA.
Right, and that's how NBA drafts. Right, it's all on what talent could be there. That's all it is.
Yeah. Their dad just, I don't know, put them in a spotlight and they got more attention. But yeah, his LiAngelo got arrested in China.
Yeah.
By the way, if any of us got arrested in China for stealing, we'd still be in jail.
Right.
Or dead.
Trump called the president of China and got him out of jail. And then that dumbass LeVar said that the president didn't do anything. And even China was like, basically, we cut a deal with Trump to get them out of jail.
Yeah, there was like 5 of them, I think. Right? There's like 4 or 5 of them from the
I
UCLA
can't
team.
remember, but yeah, all of them got out because of a phone call.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the headache combination of drafting LaMelo and dealing with his father.
I don't know that LeVar and
Something.
yeah,
Lonzo?
Lonzo, I don't think they're on good terms.
No. I think when he got traded from LA, it kind of like ended stuff.
He
Not ended it, but
he said some stuff while he was in LA that probably didn't sit well. Probably made life difficult for Lonzo in LA.
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, LeVar was saying stuff that obviously does not make it. I obviously, maybe the kids have their head on their shoulder better than LeVar does, but it's almost like, like why would you say that? You're gonna make it 10 times harder for me to do anything, because they probably obviously they still have the dream to be NBA superstars, but their dad's just trying to live off them.
So here's what I've heard, not sure how true it is there was some money stolen for Lonzo.
From him?
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Because remember, he wore the big baller brand shoes.
Yes.
And then, so there was some rumors there that some money came up missing. He probably gave to his dad or was supposed to be invested, or however. His dad probably had control of something, and I don't know.
Yep.
So that wouldn't shock me at all.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Let's talk about some football. Last week we talked about Houston because we were talking about teams that just suck, and is there going to be changes? And the team we threw in there was the Vikings, Texans. Someone was coming out of their 0-4. Congratulations, Houston, you were 0-4. Bill O'Brien got fired.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any of you were shocked by this. But this afternoon, did you hear the story? No. Apparently, going into week 4, J.J. Watt and Bill O'Brien got in an argument in practice, which doesn't shock me. I mean, we talked about it last week. At some point, you got J.J. Watt, like, he's going to become unhappy. You paid Deshaun Watson a ton of money. And apparently him and Bill O'Brien got into a heated argument going into week 4.
That's not a guy I want to get in a heated argument.
No.
No.
Not when you go to play Pittsburgh. Actually, I can't remember when. I think it was before the Pittsburgh game. So yeah, that's not a good idea. Then his two brothers are gonna be like, "Hey, see that guy over there?"
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to meet JJ in a dark alley, and let alone a light alley.
So, who would win the fight, J.J. Watt or LeBron James? MMA.
J.J. Watt. That's a pretty easy one
I would
too.
agree with that.
He's got bigger hands.
What are the pay lines?
LeBron's got 0 fighting skill.
So
Do we know JJ does?
plus 1,500.
He's got
James.
JJ's got 2 brothers, so I guess he does have fighting skills.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So yeah, Bill O'Brien fired, gone. There's some other teams that need to make some changes.
So-
Dan Quinn needs to go.
Yeah.
So whoever comes in to coach them, how much will they hate the fact that they traded Hopkins last year?
Right.
I mean, you've got to be wishing you were in there earlier to nix that trade.
Well, and they got to bring in a GM too.
Yeah, he was the.
he was both, so you got to figure right. I assume he got fired from both positions.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
So
And he's gone. Gone. It wasn't like he stepped down and
Keep them moving.
keep moving. Hey, you're 0-4. Keep moving.
Are they only 0-4 team?
Falcons.
Falcons,
Oh, yeah.
Jets, Giants.
Never mind. So that we talked about this Sunday, so you could throw Houston in that category. So Houston with Watson. You got Danny Dimes in New York, Giants, and Darnold with the Jets. So if one of those teams gets first overall pick, what do you do?
Yeah, we did talk about this
Do
Sunday.
you trade it? Do you? To me, so I'll throw out my opinion, then we'll get your.
right.
So to me, Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall. So if you're one of those teams, I'm going to take Houston out of that because I don't think Houston would draft because of the contract. So if Houston gets it, I would say they trade the pick.
There was another team you had in there this Sunday, though. There was the Jets, Giants. Who was the other team?
Jaguars got to be.
Well,
They'll be.
We did talk about it. It might have been. It might have been. I can't remember.
So I was mainly listing those three because they seem set at the quarterback position.
Right.
So if you're the
You can throw the Falcons in there, right, with Matt Ryan.
yeah, that's true.
Although Matt Ryan's probably 3 years away. So
I was gonna say he's much older, so that situation's a little different. So let's talk about the Jets. If you're the Jets,
or the Giants.
Yeah, either one of those. You get first overall. Do you take Trevor Lawrence or do you trade the pick? What do you do there?
Giants, without a doubt, I'm taking Lawrence because I don't think David Jones is the answer. Jets, I'm taking Lawrence, but I'm trading Darnold because maybe Darnold's good. The Jets just don't put anything around him, right?
He possibly could be good, but he's nothing for trade value.
The offensive line is not good. They put no receivers around him.
Spend
Le'Veon Bell's been whatever.
Hurt.
So
I mean, he's hurt all the time. So
yeah, so in Houston, you trade. That's so hard to trade the number one pick, but
you got to assume you're getting a pretty sweet package for
right. That's
for
what I'm
Trevor
thinking.
Lawrence.
You got depending on who wants Lawrence, because we already know probably Jacksonville would take him.
yeah,
You know, there's teams out there that would take Lawrence, and obviously we know. I don't know who it was. San Fran trade up, or someone traded with San Fran maybe a couple of years ago in a ridiculous package to move to like number 2. Oh, the Bears, right? The Bears moved up to take Trubisky. With a huge package.
And we're going
And we're
That's
talking.
what she said.
bazinga.
That's what I'm here for, I guess.
We're going back a little bit further, but didn't Washington give up a monster deal to get RG3? Trade up and get him? Or am I thinking of someone else? Did they trade up big time to get him?
Falcons gave up a ton to get Julio to the Browns, and the Browns like wasted the picks, but
yeah.
I was thinking quarterback. I thought Washington traded up. Yes, Stat Boy, look that up. Robert Griffin III.
RG3 draft
I know what
trade.
his name is, yeah.
Get Googling. Don't make me get serious.
So what's your opinion? I mean, if you're the Jets or the Giants,
I'm taking Lawrence if I'm the Jets or Giants.
Yes.
If I'm Houston, I'm
trading it.
Oh, of course, if I'm the Jets and I can say, hey, what are you offering me? I can keep Darnold and I can get, the third pick. I can get the 35th pick. If you're throwing a haul at me, maybe you keep Darnold around.
So my thought was,
I think the Jets are going to need a new coach anyways after the year. So
Jets need a new coach like after next week. They needed a new coach. I don't know why they even started the season with Gase. That was stupid on their part. So I can't. He asked me the same. We talked about it. I don't have like a definitive yep, I would do this, because I feel like if you're that bad, you might as well take Lawrence and build. But at the same time, it's like Darnold's only in year 3. Did they trade up for Darnold? Or did they just took him before Josh Allen?
no, yeah, they just took him.
So Darnold was a top 5 pick, I believe, right? He went number 3.
Yes, Darnold went 3.
So he's a top 5 pick. And then even the Giants last year, what did Jones go?
2 or 3, 4, somewhere top
top 5, yeah.
5th, I don't know, somewhere in top 5.
I feel like from a organizational standpoint, it wouldn't shock me, I guess, if they just trade the pick, because they're gonna, they're all in on that. When to your point, there's nothing around these guys. So do you trade the pick and get people to put around them because you're all in? I mean, why? I mean, they clearly at some point still feel like that's their guy. I mean, we're gonna find out. Darnold's hurt; he's not playing this week,
Right.
so Flacco's gonna be playing, which that can make things interesting, depending on which Joe Flacco shows up. I just don't know, like from an organizational standpoint, do they look at it and say, well, it's still too early for us to make that decision? Darnold's year 3, Jones is year 2. Do we just trade the pick and just keep trying to build and get weapons around these guys? I don't know. And you're missing Barkley in New York.
So I got a point, but Stat Boy, what you got?
Not to get too far off before we go back, but in an effort to acquire Robert Griffin III, the Washington Redskins traded 3 first-round picks and a second-round selection for the St. Louis Rams number 2 overall selection.
3 first-round picks?
Yes. That's what I remember. That was a
huge.
serious trade.
Were they all different years?
That I'm not sure of. I'm looking at something that was written in 2013.
Well, unless they had 2 first-round picks, maybe, and then they could.
Yeah, that's a big package for a guy that's sitting on the bench.
So the reason I think the 2 New York teams would be more than willing to just take Trevor Lawrence, even though they have those quarterbacks. I get what you're saying. These guys are only in the first couple of years.
That's not me just saying like that's what I would do. I can see it happening either way, basically.
I keep thinking about Josh Rosen, who was drafted 10th overall by the Cardinals.
And then told everybody they're going to regret taking me 10th.
Right. And then the next year they had a chance for Kyler Murray. So screw it, we're taking Murray. See you, Rosen.
The only team regretting taking him 10th is Cardinals.
Right. And then Rosen goes to Miami, and now he's in Tampa Bay, I believe, right? So
yes.
On the practice squad. So there's a guy that was 10th overall, was supposed to be their quarterback of the future. He didn't play as much as Daniel Jones and Darnold have.
Right.
But that's a situation where you drafted your quarterback of the future, and then next year, oops, there's our quarterback of the future. Yeah. We're going to take him instead.
Right.
So yeah, if I'm the Giants or Jets and I have first overall, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence. I'll deal with the other quarterbacks later. If I'm Houston, I'm going to trade the pick. You've clearly gone all in on Watson, and in my opinion, Watson is the best of those 3 quarterbacks.
So if you take Lawrence in New York, either the Jets or the Giants, if you take him, I don't even know if you try to trade those guys. I don't know what trade value they have. It's not like they've put.
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know.
But you're not deep. They're all on rookie contracts. It's not like you're that far deep in money.
If you could get even if you could say, hey, give me a 4th-round pick for him. Well, I would. You could take Darnold as a backup on many teams.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say, though. Maybe, you mentioned Jacksonville. If Lawrence goes first overall to the Jets, maybe Jacksonville says, you know what, we don't mind what we see with Darnold. We'll give you a 3rd rounder for him.
Yeah. So.
And I think, not to cut you off, though, the other team you mentioned, Atlanta, to me, if they go 0-16 and get first overall, they clearly take Lawrence.
Yes. That's what
because Matt Ryan's only a couple years from probably being done.
Yeah, he can sit there with
Ryan. Even if Lawrence doesn't play the first year. But
right.
But even if he did, I think he'll be pretty NFL ready.
Yeah.
You throw him in there with that receiving core that they have now in Atlanta.
Right.
That could be a pretty good recipe.
If they can stay healthy.
Recipe for success.
Julio killing my fantasy.
Yeah.
Julio's always struggled with injuries.
So something to throw into this, though, is there's talk that I'm going to get his name. I think it's Ryan Day, the Ohio State head coach. There's talks of him getting NFL offers, whether he takes them or not, which I think, I don't know if we've had this conversation before, but college coaches going to the pros is stupid because they literally have life by the balls in those college towns and are gods there.
Some of them.
The big names are, right? So what's the point of going to the NFL? But if he decides to go to NFL and he ends up going to New York, to the Jets, I should say, do they take Justin Fields from a Jets perspective? Because Day's already had Fields. Because I think Fields and Lawrence are probably the top 2 quarterbacks off the board. But that'll be an interesting choice. Even if the Jets have number 1, they may end up saying, no, I want Fields, if we hire Day because they've already got a connection.
Right.
That'll be interesting when it comes time is does Day take a job and then can he get Fields to his team? Because even obviously Washington's making a QB change this week. So
did they ever?
So Kyle Allen's obviously starting for them this week.
Haskins didn't get put to the backup. He is now 3rd string.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So
Haskins, he didn't
all I saw was Kyle Allen was starting. So
Kyle Allen starting. Alex Smith's the backup, and Haskins got moved to 3rd string.
So obviously Washington could use a quarterback. So obviously, unless somebody still believes in Haskins, but if Day takes that job, he had Haskins I think for a year. But does he? I don't know.
Haskins is another Josh Rosen example. You take a quarterback top 10, and a year later he's not playing.
100%.
So that's why I don't think you ignore Lawrence. You would hope. I get the whatever his name, Day, Fields connection, but you would hope you kind of put your ego aside a little bit and, if you want to take Fields, so be it, but you have to 100% believe he's going to be a better NFL quarterback than Lawrence to do that. Yep. I don't watch enough college football to comment on
and we
that,
haven't seen Fields yet this year because Big Ten hasn't started, so it's hard to tell.
But they started in November? Or?
They got 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I think it's like the 24th, 25th, somewhere in there.
Gotcha.
Is Chad Green all right over there on the TV?
No,
Like
he's
it's
not.
freaking
Boone's
out.
making some really stupid decisions.
Yeah, like
He should have never
Yes.
started that kid yesterday.
stupid pitching decision.
Oh, you mean when they switched at the end of the first inning? Is that what
Well,
you're
they
talking
should have
about?
never started that kid.
The weirdest thing
Looked
I've
like
seen.
he looked like a sixth
Well,
grader.
Yeah, that's right. That's the problem. Everybody's doing that now, and it's like everybody's like, "Oh, it's okay to do it."
They
So
do
let's
that
just do
to
it.
you start a righty. Tampa comes with a left-handed heavy lineup, and
yeah,
then you
it
immediately
switches up the lineup.
you immediately
yeah.
put your left-handed pitcher in the second inning.
And that's what they talked about. Obviously, Kevin Cash probably knows about that. I think they talked to this on the game last night. Couple times this year, Tampa put an all left-handed, not even switch hitters, all left-handed lineup to start the game. You know, so if they did that last night, and then you bring Happ in, and you got him facing lefties, which I don't think he's great against lefties.
I'm not sure
So-
the Hap move last night was
Well-
because of the lineup. It was that kid was not ready to be starting in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah, he's 21, right? It's-
I would have not.
So
put
I
that
didn't.
kid-
I didn't watch the first inning, so I don't know. I actually don't know anything about
did
that
he,
kid.
He didn't give a
but
run, did he? I didn't watch first inning either.
He didn't
but-
look good.
the way Boone sounded, some of the interviews, I believe that was no matter what, that was a calculated move. That kid was only throwing one inning.
That was even a
Yeah.
better move. Should have never started that kid.
That's why this year, if we want to transition to baseball, I guess, since we're going, but that's I think that's right. We've talked about this is no days off. Obviously being a Braves fan, I'm hoping it ends tomorrow. They don't have to worry about it. But if they get to game 4 and 5, they literally have 3 starters. They're gonna have to piece together bullpen arms for the rest of the series. But
or you just throw on short notice.
I think a lot of teams have to, right? Even last night, San Diego, they started Clevenger, and he came out injured. They brought him back because he was hurt.
It was to say he was injured. To answer your question from a couple weeks ago, that's why he wasn't on the roster.
Right.
For that first
Yes.
series.
Correct.
He was hurt.
Yep. So they brought him back to start last night, and he threw. I think he got out of the first. It might have been an inning and third, maybe he threw.
Is that 2-0 LA now?
No, they played tonight. It's 1-0 LA.
Last
right?
night was first game?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind.
So yes, they brought Clevenger back, and then he got hurt. So they're kind of in a similar situation. They've got in Lament, who's their other starter, wasn't on the roster. So they've literally got 2 starters. I think Davies is going tonight, who's their other starter, and then actually that's it. Davies is probably their only starter on the roster right now. So they're gonna have to piece it together.
I'm a firm believer and disbeliever in the. So it's okay. So I'm a firm believer that pitchers need to throw every day. I'm an extremely big disbeliever in this whole they need to get 5 days rest. I think that pitchers that throw every 5 days or whatever it is in the regular season is the reason we see more arm injuries because they baby them for 5 days. Hear me out. You go throw 5 to 7 innings, and then you just kind of lay around for 4 or 5 days. You soft toss, you maybe do some bullpen work. You turn around another 5 days and you start throwing hard again. It's that quick trauma to the arm. They do this in Japan. They don't have guys that need Tommy John surgery. All these guys are throwing, and I feel like they baby the pitcher so much that instant trauma to the arm every 4 to 5 days is at a higher level than it used to be because they baby him so much. It's a money thing. You give the guy that much money, you're going to try to protect him. I don't think it helps him. I just don't.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like if you threw every 4 days, I feel like you're cutting up pitchers. If a pitcher was, I don't know what their average is, I'll say 10 years, whatever. I feel like you're cutting that down to 6 years if you do that.
I know.
To clear up, throw, not pitch in a game.
Yeah, they're not. So that's they did this. They did
Like
this.
you just mentioned 4 days, not a 4-day rotation. Like you threw 100 pitches tonight. Tomorrow you go play light catch, and day 2 of rest, you're throwing
These guys are
70
not even
pitches in a bullpen.
They might throw 100 pitches. They might not touch a baseball for 2 days.
I think they throw bullpens in between. I think
I don't think they do if they're throwing that many pitches.
I think this is pretty well documented. Actually, they talk about that with the Japanese pitchers.
they don't.
They do throw
every day.
They don't. Yeah, they're not putting in serious work with the arm every day. I think
Because they rest, and I think there's so many guys now that need Tommy John. At this point, you might as well get drafted and say, I'll see you guys in a year. I'm going to go get Tommy John done. But I think it's that quick trauma that, they sit and then they turn around and start throwing again that they say it's not, I guess it can't be good for the arm, just study-wise.
What's up, Stat Boy? How you doing?
I was just thinking
We're keeping you out of the loop today, aren't we?
I was just thinking about someone getting a preemptive Tommy John surgery. Well, not possible, but kind of funny.
Any right-handed pitcher, it's almost that stereotypical big Texas country boy, right? These big right-handed pitchers that are 6'5" and throw 95 plus. It's almost a given that they're going to have Tommy John before they're 25 years old.
So I think like with Cole, you're telling me, and what I don't know what the contract was he signed in New York. You're telling me in that time frame he's probably not going to need Tommy John. It's probably going to happen with him.
The odds are high.
Yeah,
I think I would bet the average age of Tommy John now, though, is somewhere between 20 and 25 years old. Cole is one of the rare ones that's actually gotten past that. I mean, he's 29, 30 years old now and has avoided it.
I'm really curious how many guys just because I feel like some of these guys that have it, it's kind of out of the blue. They're like, oh, he's out. He's going to have Tommy John. Yeah. You don't really hear about them actually getting hurt. And I don't know if it's like they get to a point where like, well, let's not keep throwing, risking injury. Let's just have the surgery at this point, because they say some guys come out of Tommy John stronger than they went in.
It's very common to throw harder after a Tommy John.
Yeah. So let me stop you real quick because I just showed Cole. So obviously, Yankees are down 7-2 here in the sixth. If Tampa wins this game, then would you bring Cole back tomorrow?
Yeah.
On 2 days rest?
Yeah. Absolutely. See, that's the problem. Is you're one of those. It's not really a problem, but
who started this game?
Tanaka.
He did. Okay.
I assume they don't have another. I don't know. They're starting pitching well.
No, their pitching sucks.
So I don't think they had anybody else.
I'm not a believer in this whole like they only threw on this day's rest. Like you're a professional athlete, man. Like that's what you do is you pitch. Just
so I don't think I'd start him, but I would have him ready. Like coming in like
even if he starts and throws 3-4 innings.
Like, well, I'm not even saying that. Don't start him, but if I can get a lead, I'm bringing him in the sixth inning, and he can throw the last 4.
Yeah, I feel like baseball as a whole now is under this ideology that we can't throw pitchers on 3-4 days or 3 days rest. And it's like, how come they're doing it? Like you said, like they've done research in Japan. None of these guys are getting hurt, and they throw every day.
And I see what you're saying because, sorry, I cut you off. Keep cutting you off. Right, Strasburg's a perfect example of that. They babied him, came back. He had, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 2 good years, and then he was injured all year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I guess, 2 points. Me being a Pirates fan, Jameson Taillon, who was drafted, I don't know, a year or so after Cole. So that Cole-Taillon punch was supposed to be their rotation for years to come. Jameson Taillon's got to be 26-ish, 27 now, and he's had 2 or 3 Tommy Johns. He's coming back from one right now. I think it might be his third.
I don't know. He might be in Tampa's. Last I knew he was with Tampa. Maybe it's switched now, but
Taillon?
Yeah.
He's a Pirate.
Oh, he's still a Pirate?
Yeah.
I thought, I'm thinking Glass now. Sorry.
Yeah. The Japanese thing came up when Ichiro came to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Ichiro obviously wasn't a pitcher. He's an outfielder. But he may have one of the strongest arms in the history of baseball. And some of the throws he would make from right field to third base were just jaw-dropping. Yeah. And I believe it was Ichiro that made that point, that I go out, throw long toss every single day. He's putting himself through a workout every day. Now, I understand it's an outfielder, it's not a pitcher. But he was kind of that first voice out of Japan that said, the throwing programs are completely different. In Japan, you're throwing every single day, even if you're a pitcher. Even if you're not in a game, you're in the bullpen. You're going to do long toss, and then you're going to the bullpen and throwing 50 pitches. You're not just icing your arm and sitting in the dugout watching the game. So
I know it's a different discipline, but it kind of reminds me of like a traditional marathon runner will like work up to a marathon. And then when they finally do it, they take all this time off because they say it beats their body up, right? But then you've got certain guys. Yeah, I mean, I don't personally know. That's for damn sure.
Never ran a marathon.
Then you've got other guys on Instagram that are running a marathon every day for like 100 days in a row. So what's the reality here? You've got physical therapists saying your body can't do this more than once every 2 months. Then you got a guy that does 100 days in a row.
So we went to, you didn't, I did. Went to high school with a kid, You guys all know who he is because he's won like the wine glass. He's won.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, Brian. I won't mention last
I don't even
names.
think he even ran in high school, did he? Didn't he just?
Yes.
I thought he just like
Absolutely
had
did.
a late in life thing.
No. He was
Okay.
like he tore everyone's ass up in high school and cross country, and any long distance track meets. But at one time, like 3 or 4 years ago, I don't even know. He ran 3 or 4 marathons in like a 4-day stretch, and I think it was 3 marathons in 4 days, and he won 2 of them. And like it was just like he was in like Virginia, North Carolina, just kept like.
So that's obviously not as violent of a motion. It's just a long duration on your joints. But I mean,
I just feel like
it
if your
still goes
body's
to-
built that way,
if the experts say one thing, you can probably do a lot more than what they say. So if you throw 3 more games where you squeeze the schedule a little bit tighter on your pitching staff, are you really doing that much damage?
I think it's
I don't know the answer. I'm just
I think it's more of them sitting around after they throw.
I think it's even more pronounced with closers, where you'll have a closer come in and close 2 games in a row, back-to-back days, and then they say, "Oh, he's not available for 2 more days."
Right. I believe Chapman's came out and said, "I will not pitch back-to-back days," which is crazy to me.
That's
But
he shouldn't be
Protecting his
allowed to
asset.
make that
Right,
statement
exactly.
with the amount of money they're paying him.
That's some Kawhi Leonard shit.
Right? Yeah.
he needs
Load
maintenance days.
management.
Wait, going back to the running. Sorry, I'm way off topic here. So my wife and I did a 40-mile bike ride on Saturday. So as we're riding up, because obviously this should have been wine glass weekend, so there's a lot of people like running.
So I
running
wondered
they're
if they
doing
did it.
virtual stuff.
It was a virtual marathon, so like you just had to run during the month to get your medal and stuff anytime during October. So a lot of people on
Russ,
Saturday.
that was our chance to get marathon medals, Russ.
Yeah. Right.
Hop in your Ram. Let's go, buddy.
so
Just drive really slow.
so there was a lot of people running the route on Saturday just to get the half or the full marathon in. So on the way up, we passed a guy. Obviously, we're on the same side of the road.
Did you pass
This guy-
Willig picking up shit out of the ditch?
I'm surprised I didn't. He was probably out there Sunday. So I looked and I knew the guy running, and I was like, oh, and I kind of waved to him and everything. So my wife and I get up to Bath and we turned around, had something to eat, and we turned around. And as we're coming back out of Bath, I see the guy again. Obviously, he was running all the way to Bath, and I'm like, oh, hey, Donnie. So he waves. So then I'm like, I feel good. We rode 40 miles. So next morning I wake up and I look on Facebook, and he posts, just ran my first ultra marathon. He fucking ran from Corning to Bath and back to Corning, 52.88 miles. I was like, I feel shitty now that I rode 40
ran
miles.
52 miles in the last 10 years total.
I don't know if I've ever ran 52
never
miles
have.
in my life.
I never have. And I played baseball. I ran around a base. Still couldn't add up.
my
Still couldn't add up
he
to
he
that.
posted a picture like leaving Corning because they put the finishing banner up. He posted a picture like running out
Wait,
of
they had the
Corning.
banner up?
They had the
We could
finish
have just
banner.
went and taken pictures.
Yes.
You probably still could. It's probably still up. It's probably up all month. And so he posted a picture leaving, and then when he posted his finishing picture, it was pitch black. It was like 11 hours and 20 minutes, and I'm like, holy cow, dude.
I have a
Like,
proposition for us.
No.
I like how this is shaping up
Hear me
already.
out. I'll buy you a steak dinner if you go buy runner shorts and a tank top and let me video you and a headband. You got to wear a headband, okay? And let me video you. You got to run like, 8 steps and make it look like you're crossing the finish line sweaty. But you got to wear that outfit.
I will be sweating after running 8 steps. I promise you that. Jesus.
So do we have a deal?
We'll see.
Do you like this?
That's not bad. For a steak dinner? Hey, you should ask who's cooking it. If he's cooking it or you're going to get it somewhere.
I'm cooking it, so it's mystery animal.
Could be woodchuck.
That'd be a negative then.
Right? You can hunt squirrel, right?
We've had our first frogs. You can eat them. Oh, boy.
What? So, sorry, I'm way off topic here.
No, this is a good episode.
Going back
What do we got
to
now?
baseball. So obviously we're in the division series, and I think it's awesome that all 4 series are division series. I think it puts more hype and angst on the
Nobody,
series.
either of the Centrals left right now, right?
Correct.
I like the new playoff format. Are they doing this moving forward?
They've talked about expanding it.
I think they
full-time,
should. I
but
mean, I don't mind
I
it.
think this is awesome to have division series and you have all division series.
Yeah.
It's
I've actually
it's pretty neat.
watched baseball because games come on at like noon, 2 o'clock every day here.
That's why so and obviously we've talked about this with the Tatis stuff because obviously yesterday with Acuna, you know where I'm going with this.
You don't know what I'm laughing at.
I got my Defend Atlanta shirt on here. I don't know what he's laughing at. We'll find out after.
Keep going.
So
Me? No.
Oh, okay.
something with me. So Acuna hits a home run to lead off the game yesterday.
What are you defending and repeating?
Defend Atlanta, baby.
Actually, it says
So just
respect
defending
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
so I guess that confirms
okay.
that Adam cannot read.
I told you
I said repeat. I couldn't read it.
I told you I got shots in my eyes today.
When I hear defending, I think like, hey, we won a World Series last year. We're defending.
We're back to back NL East titles.
That's like a participation drill.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Do you know the Braves have more division titles than the Yankees? Just so you know.
That's like winning the third flight in McGill, buddy.
Hey,
Congrats on winning your flight.
win.
Hey, are you the net club champ?
After talking about World Series totals, you shouldn't have brought that one up.
I know. I had to.
Net club champion.
yeah.
So Acuna hits a home run to lead the game off yesterday, and obviously him and the Marlins have a history. Second at bat comes up, and they drill him. I mean, the catcher was set up outside, and pitcher missed target by almost 4 feet.
I don't think he was hit on purpose.
So I didn't think so either.
He wasn't.
I didn't think he was. And obviously he turned to the bench and held up 5 fingers because that's the 5th time in the last year and a half that the Marlins have hit him. And it's known that. So I believe they were in a 4-game series last year. The first 3 games, Acuna led the game off with home runs. In the 4th game, Urania hit him. And they asked him about it after the game. He said, I wasn't letting him hit a leadoff home run against me. So I hit him.
So I get that, but
When was that? Regular
Last
season?
year, yeah.
it was regular season.
I don't think
If the
I don't
game
think
wasn't
you
out
get-
of hand yesterday to do if the score was a big margin and it was out of hand, I could see it. But at that point in the game, it was like what, 3rd inning?
Yeah, and to me, it was a huge mistake, right? Because it was 4-1 Marlins at that point. He hit Acuna, and that turned the entire game around. The
That's
Braves
what I mean.
won 9-5.
There was no reason for them or motive
But
for them to hit
that's
him.
how I said. Obviously, these guys are like young, and so you don't know. Obviously, we'll never know if it was on purpose or not. And obviously, a lot of the guys, Ortiz was like, it was on purpose. There's history between them. So
History aside, there was no reason for them to do that and put somebody on base in a playoff game when you're winning 4-1.
right, and that's what I said. And obviously,
third inning,
it basically lost them the game because they scored 2 that inning, and then obviously scored 6 in the 7th inning. But
I have a question. I understand hitting someone that you have like an actual dilemma with or something to that extent, but if you just don't want someone to hit a home run off you, why hit them with a pitch instead of intentionally walking them?
So the Marlins have a really tough time getting Acuna out. So I think they literally
They didn't
you know what I
today.
mean? What's the thought process? It's like I
What's
better
that?
hit
They
him
didn't
with
today.
instead of
No, they
just-
didn't.
You're gonna get him on base.
Right.
Why not walk him? I don't know.
Right. We've talked about it. Pitchers have an ego. Don't hit a home run and kind of showboat off me. And we've talked about just
Don't give up the pitch.
Don't give up the home run.
to that point though, I agree with that statement, but I think the bat flips and stuff are getting a little too extreme, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In general.
So I was reading a couple articles about this today. A lot of guys are thinking, and I think I saw a tweet from Bauer yesterday about it. And Tatis. So after the game yesterday, Acuna was
I saw it.
posting shit
I read the
all over
tweet.
Instagram and everything. And Tatis was responding to it, and he's like, "No, go do your thing," basically. So Bauer even tweeted, he's like, "This is the way the game's going. These young guys are trying to bring swagger to the game, and I think the game needs it." And obviously Bauer, we've talked about Bauer's one of those guys that tries to bring some kind of swagger to the game. So I don't know if that's really the way that's going, because obviously then you got guys like Trout that don't do that at all.
Right. So
So
I was
it's-
watching the game yesterday and watching it live when it happened, and same thing. They tried to turn it into like he was hit on purpose. He wasn't hit on purpose. Not in the 3rd inning when you're up 4-1. Like there's no reason for them to hit him on purpose. And I believe there was a count, right? It's not like they come out first pitch and like, threw it into his leg.
Yeah, and I don't remember.
They hit him in the side of the leg. It's not like they threw it at his ribs, threw him in the head.
That's better. Right, that's better than the guys throwing them at people's heads. Right?
It was the announcers making something out of nothing, and Acuna just like reacted. He should. I get there's history there, but you're the Marlins are winning 4-1 in the third inning. You're not going to throw at the guy. That's just stupid. Just stupid. There's no motive or reason there in the middle of the playoffs.
No one said the Marlins are smart.
It doesn't matter. There's no motive. There's no reason. There's no reason to. It didn't make any sense at all for them to throw at him. None. But it was.
I agree. I didn't think it was intentional, but obviously, yeah, everybody's talking about
story.
it like it was.
That's what it is.
So.
Let's talk some golf.
Okay.
So.
Such passion from Russ. Okay.
I'm done for the year playing golf. It's been fun, boys. See you in 2021, maybe.
Oh, I thought you meant 20 years because you're going to be a dad, so
no,
just going to disappear.
The next time, you and I talked about this, I think, on the way home Saturday. The next time I play actual golf, depending on weather here in the spring, will probably be at Pinehurst. I'll probably be teaming up at Pinehurst. It'll be the first time I play next year. So hopefully, I'm going to hit balls this winter and stuff. I have some options there. But I got my last two rounds this past weekend. We played Corning Friday, and which was a good time, by the way. Russ and I won some cash, won some free beer.
Yep. Very last minute invite. I'm glad I made it on time.
Yeah, I got a text message at 11:30. Can you play at 1:50? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm on my way to the golf course because I'm like, I was going to go to Indian Hills hit balls anyways because we played in a tournament Saturday.
He U-turned in the middle of
I'm
South Hamilton.
I'm on my way to the golf or to Corning. I'm getting off the exit. I get a text from Harris. You bringing someone? I'm like, no. Find someone. I'm like, we tee off in an hour.
I had taken a vacation day just kind of for the hell of it. I've got some extra vacation to burn, so I was actually just going to hang out at home and get some shit done. So 1:50 tee time, and he texted me at like 10 after 1. It's like, hey, can you didn't realize I was on vacation.
No idea. Shot in the dark. What are you doing today?
Yeah. Can you make it to the country club?
Russ is like, scratch my balls. I'll be there in a minute.
I hadn't showered or anything. I'm like, well, so I text him back. I'm like, yeah, what time? And I hopped in the shower just in case, and I get out, and he's like, tee time's at 1:50. I'm like, I guess I got to get going.
Dude, it was a great time.
Russ had to get everything.
It always
back in
is
the bag.
there. I mean, you can't have a bad time there.
Dude, that place is money right now. Like the fairways look really. I don't know how to. They're not very green, but it's playing fantastic right now. You're cheesing like you got.
So we played a match, 2-man best ball match against these two guys, two Corning. I don't know if they want their names out there, but you already mentioned Harris.
Mike is winning right now.
No, it's not. I'm letting it.
It sounds good. It sounds real good through my headset.
We're on 14 green.
Great. This is a great story.
So I think I had already holed my ball. Harris and his partner were on the green. You had like a, I don't know,
15, 20 footer for birdie.
Yeah, 20 footer for birdie. There's these three kids. There were a lot of kids all over the place. So these three kids that were playing, walking off a 7. So they're walking. They decide instead of walking around the practice green or whatever, they basically cut in front of the practice green. Basically walk on the fringe of 14.
I feel like
Pin's in the back, by the way.
this is a great story.
Pin is in the back. It's back right on 14.
All we know is kids were walking. I'm excited already.
These kids are basically walking on the fringe of 14 as he's lining up his 20-footer for
Clubs clanging.
Talking loud.
Yeah,
clubs clanging. You would have thought nobody else was out there. So he's kind of lining his putt up, and then he backs off, and we all just kind of look over. These kids
I'm like laughing at them, like, whatever.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, whatever, who cares? No etiquette kind of situation.
I'm going to wait for them to just walk by.
Harris wasn't. Harris speaks up. He goes, hey, guys, he's got a big putt here. And they just kind of looked at him. They stopped, and he goes, oh, you can keep walking, no talking.
That's BDE right there.
So these kids immediately shut up, keep walking.
But then as I'm putting, the kid stops, walks while I'm putting. He's directly in front of me.
They've clearly purposely gotten the extension of his line while he's putting and then decided to start walking while he was hitting the putt.
You guys can walk. Don't talk.
Yeah, you guys can walk. Don't talk.
It almost sounds like they won that interaction.
No,
Nah, because we're here
break
laughing
your
at 'em.
rules.
Yeah, but the best question is, did you make it?
I did not make that one.
No.
But sounds like that one didn't matter.
You made par.
That one would have been nice. So would the putt on 16, the putt I almost made on 17, and the 10-footer I missed on not even 10 feet on 18.
Yeah. That was the theme of the weekend for you and I.
Yeah, I just
the
burned a
putts
lot of putt.
We're not falling.
Didn't make any putts, shot 66.
Yeah.
Didn't really make anything.
No bogeys.
No bogeys. Clean card.
That's his card, not our best ball card, for the record.
Hashtag no duds.
No duds on that card. So he won 20 bones from those boys, and then Harris bought us dinner. and
he made a bet.
Yeah.
With the 4 guys in front of us, who we'll name later.
Yeah.
The 4 guys that he knew were going out. He's like, hey, you guys want to play 2-ball out of the 4 for first round of beers? These guys didn't even know us. We hadn't even shown up yet. He already made the bet. And then
we get done. They're like, how'd you do? And Brian's like, well, he shot 66. How'd you guys do?
Thanks for the beer.
Yep.
Thanks for the dinner.
And I said to Brian, like, was it close? He's like, I don't know. I think we won by 7.
I'm like,
so no.
I go, yeah, that's not close for a 2-ball.
We're staying in the middle of 14. And they hit it way over. Or we're on 12. They're coming down 13. They hit it. A couple of them hit it way right. And Harris is like, oh, man, not looking like we're buying the beers today. One guy's like, dude, he's going to make par. I'm like, pars aren't cutting it today. Not cutting it.
And then he smoked it into the tree.
Yeah, he's
Not him, the other
Not
guy.
me.
The guy that said that. I'm still making par here. No, you're not. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Corning was great. But yeah, then our tournament.
How's the pasture?
Dude, Birch Run is Birch Run National.
Birch Run National, somebody called it.
Yeah.
So we've played in this 3 years now. This is the third.
We have to get these guys up there next year.
Yeah.
Just to play the golf course because it's just, I don't know, it's unique.
It's a very unique place.
And even somebody said, like, oh, is this your first Birch Run experience? We're like, no, we've been here before.
So
I assume there's 2 sets of tees. Sorry, not everybody knows. 9-hole course. I assume there's 2 sets of tees, one for front, one for back.
Yeah, there's a white and a black.
yeah,
set.
it's a white and a black, and they are 2 sets of tees. It's not black's not longer on every hole, so it varies from hole to hole. So our buddy Marcus, who has been a guest on this podcast early in the day, the Tiger King episodes,
Yeah.
cut her down in half.
Cut her down in half.
So he hosts this tournament. I will completely admit I don't know what the M&M part of it is.
That's Marcus and Munch or whoever
okay.
the other M is.
Okay. It's
Not the rapper, Taylor.
I was going to say, is there a whole conglomerate? EMINEM? 7 guys.
so this is a straight up cash tournament. There is handicap involved somehow. There's this weird math formula.
It's still fair, though, I think.
Yeah. It's 9 holes. 9 holes best ball, 9 holes scramble. So somehow based on the handicap, like I got 5 shots on the best ball.
There's a calculation.
He gave up a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I did par that hole, so we didn't give that stroke
Yeah,
back.
I had to
Thank you.
I had to knock in the hole off the tee. It was a par 3.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, I had to make 1 to make birdie.
Yes. And Marcus, to his credit, who was playing the same,
Yeah.
he made a birdie for a net par, which you don't see that very often. So I give him credit for doing that.
Yeah,
And then at the end, there's a team handicap point something. So basically, our score, our team and Marcus's team were the 2 lowest handicap combinations. So basically, it took our best ball total, our net best ball total, plus our scramble total, and then you subtract this other handicap score.
it was
which
like
for,
0.75.
which for us was 3/4 of a point. There were some teams that
Sounds
got.
fucking confusing.
I have no
we
idea.
don't ask questions,
I
we
have
show up
no
and play.
idea how the math works out in this. We just show up and play. There was one team. I think one of the teams that came in third, or the team that came in third place, had their score minus 3.5. So they actually had the most points coming off the board, and it helped them win third place.
yeah,
This is no flights. It's just 24 teams. All the cash is going. There's a skin pot, and then the rest goes to first, second, and third place. So it's a lot of money you're playing.
skins are only for the scramble for the back 9.
Yep. I don't.
I think it's because of the handicap.
Because that handicap.
Yeah.
So it's easier for them to figure because when you're writing, you're filling out your card, you're putting on your net score. When you're doing your scramble, you're not putting on a nut score, so it's easier to do the skins and stuff and not deal with all the.
Sounds like it's pretty easy for the skin pool to get washed, though.
It did, but it almost didn't.
It did. It almost didn't. That's correct. So we were on the 8th hole, our 17th hole, hole number 8. Again, it's a 9-hole track. You just play it twice. So we're playing scramble. It's a short par 4, to the point where guys like him and Marcus was pinned high in the morning. So in the afternoon scramble, you and I maybe had 30 yards to the green.
Yards.
30 yards to the green.
Pin was in the back,
so we had 50-something to the pin. So I hit first. Thought I came up a little short, but I actually bounced on the fringe and rolled halfway the depth of the green. So I probably had a 20-footer. So he had me go up and mark it. As I'm walking up, he and Marcus are having a conversation. And they were doing good. They ended up winning, by the way, Marcus and his partner. They were doing good. So he opened his mouth and said,
If we win money.
He said,
I said, well, I might as well make this. I haven't made shit all day. We didn't. I made a putt, and then he made a putt on. I made a putt on our second hole. He made a putt on our last hole. That was the only putts we made today that day. I said, I might as well make this. I haven't made shit all day. And Marcus opened his mouth and said, if we win money and you knock this in, I'll give you $100 on top of whatever you win in skins. Incoming wedge.
I'm up on the green, standing relatively near the pin, so I have a different vantage point of it. Yeah, he chips it, or pitch shot, whatever you want to call it, hits the green, checks up, and then just starts rolling out. And I'm like, that's got a chance of going in. Rolls up, starts slowing down, stops with about a third of the ball hanging over the hole.
That's
and just sits there. Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Marcus is like midair. I was like, why did I make this bet? But that would have been the only skin.
That would have been the only skin for some hondos. I don't want to throw out numbers. Kids.
Right. USGA might be listening.
We'll tell you numbers afterwards.
Probably bureaucrats and not presidents, right?
So, skins pot washed. Afterwards, they go to some bar downtown and have a meal and whatnot. We usually hit the road just because we got to drive home.
It's like an hour and a half trip.
So I believe they went to the bar and put all the skin pot on the bar. I think one guy said they usually give like the bartender a $100 tip and put the rest on the tab. And
nice.
So that's what they did with the skin money. Marcus and his partner came in first. I couldn't tell you who came in second and third.
I'm not really sure. It was a good time, though. It's the first time he's ever won his tournament. Everyone always accused him of putting the tournament on for him to make money. And just he plays with a guy who is, I don't even know what his handicap is, but he's not another scratch golfer. I mean, it's an older guy. He has a good time, and this is the first time they've ever won it.
I think based on what I saw on a card, he had to be a 10 or a 12 handicap.
Yeah. They played rock solid. So
we hit the ball great. It's one of those courses where you overread every putt. You hit the ball and you realize, oh, that was straight. Oh, that was straight. There's only like 2 greens that have some break to them. Everything else, we were, I don't know, it's a ball outside. You hit a ball outside, it stays there, and you don't make the putt. But then the ones you do decide to line up, that, like they always say, the straight as narrow putts are the toughest one to hit in golf. So we seem to have a lot of like 7 foot dead straight putts, and we just
it's hard to stand over and feel like it doesn't break.
Right. Yeah. So we kind of
overread
them and didn't make them.
Very good greens.
Yep.
Very good greens for like a 9-hole track.
They still had the prison wall plastic in the cart for COVID rules.
Oh.
I didn't realize one of the state health department offices is in Olean.
Oh.
So they were
like right down the road. He
goes, yeah, their office is literally down the road in our backyard, so we have to be very careful. So basically, he said, if you put that, it's basically a plastic shield in between the two hanging from the roof. And he goes, basically, if you put that in the cart, it leaves no question whether or not you can have 2 people in a cart.
We pulled pins, though. I didn't even ask if we could pull pins, and then we were talking about, the guy has a conversation. He knows we come from this area to come up there.
Yep.
Just casual conversation before we started, like, how's things down there? Just bullshitting. I said, yeah, we were a little shocked you got the things. I'm like, we saw those in a couple carts earlier in the year, but we got the okay back in, like, I don't know, late April or whatever. That's when he told us about the health department's right here, yada, yada. And I said, yeah, we're at a state course where we play. We've been pulling pins pretty much every place else we've been playing. He's like, yeah, we don't pull pins here either. He's like, so don't even ask. I was like, yeah, I didn't ask. But then we got out there on the first hole. Marcus over,
yanks it out.
pulling pins today. All right.
We're like, oh, we thought he said he couldn't.
Yeah.
And then he said something. And I go, oh, that was sarcasm from the guy. He was telling us, don't pull pins.
Yeah.
Don't pull the pins.
You know, the one thing that I'm going to actually kind of miss, I think, I'll kind of have to look back and really hash this out a little bit better, but I think I'm going to miss the preferred lies in the bunkers because there was no rakes. Every time we play tournament, you get preferred lies.
There's one way to fix that.
Eliminate rakes completely or cheat?
Don't hit it in the bunker.
Wow, good one. But at the same time, looking back on it, I feel like I'm always so tempted to give myself a nice perched lie that I end up hitting crappy bunker shots. I'm like,
I feel like when I give myself a good lie in a bunker, I'm like, why did I do that?
yeah, I don't want a fried egg, but I want like 30% of that in the sand. I don't want.
I think if you have preferred lies in a bunker like we did at Corning, in my opinion, your best bet is to rake the bunker so it's smooth and then drop it from knee height, so that you get somewhat of a realistic lie.
Yeah.
To kind of
you got to be able to splash it. When you set it up on top like that, you just can't splash it well.
Yep.
Well, Russ and I don't know if you do it as much, but when Russ and I play together, like even if it's a scramble, like if someone hits a good drive, we're like, don't touch it, just play it from there.
I've done that.
The other person, just set the tee down next to it.
I did
the
that
other person can drop. Let that person hit first.
I did that a few times in the River Valley member guest with Chris, where like we seemed to get on a cold streak. We were just parring things, and then I'd hit a drive out there, and I would tell him exactly that. I'm like, I'm gonna appease the golf gods and not touch my golf ball here. So
just leave it.
Place your ball wherever you want, but I am playing mine as it lies. Try to get some good luck rolling here.
I think that segue is pretty nice. I actually picked a star this week. If
you having any stars?
I think we should. Yeah.
What's our time at?
We're at an hour and a half, so
okay.
Yeah,
might as well. So my star of the week is someone that you don't hear a whole lot about, and it's nice to see him making positive moves because the last thing we heard about him was that he has cancer. That's Big John Daly.
Oh, yeah,
Did you see this yet?
Yes, I
did.
So
John Daly makes a hole-in-one in front of a golf pro at this course, which in itself is pretty badass. And then when you watch the video again, you realize he's not wearing any shoes.
He's barefoot.
Barefoot was a charity event.
And he didn't even see it go in. He's like trying to use his hand as a visor.
He turned around and asked those guys, did that go in?
Actually, here.
I think he said
Instagram. This is public use.
I think he said it was number 11.
Oh, boy. Here we go. He golfs, apparently.
They're talking about John Daly. He golfs. He's just walking off like.
John Daly just made a hole-in-one, and I got it on video.
So the part that I thought was pretty impressive, I mean, when you play golf every single day like this guy does for 30 years, you expect to put some real stats up. He said this is his 11th hole-in-one.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think I'd still be through the roof excited. The way he nonchalantly walks over and is just like, yeah, give me some skin, strangers. I'm never going to I don't care if I'm 80 years old and I've somehow snagged a couple into the hole. I'm going to be just as excited as the first time every time.
I agree with that.
I've never had one, but if I'm like 80 when I get my first one, I'm a heart attack. I'm going to like be in the hospital right now.
I'll be really honest with you. Have you had one yet?
Yeah. Actually, it leads into what I was going to say about sometimes you can not be excited about a hole-in-one, though.
Yeah, but when I had my first one, I didn't. You never know. Like, when you don't have one, you're like, I wonder how I'll react. What am I going to do when I have one? I didn't know how to react. I was just kind of like, oh, shit, I think they just went in the hole. Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
When I was in college, we had a really nice course, obviously, on the premises, but then we had a really nice range that was surrounded by practice holes. So there's like 2 par 3s and a par 4. And I was just out there with like a shag bag of balls goofing around. And I had hit one shot on the par 3. There's 2 pins. And I hit to the back one. Then I went to hit to the front one. And I dropped a ball. It's like 150 yards and bang. Right into the cup. And I'm looking around by myself and I'm like, what a waste of a great golf shot right there. Because I'm not going to go home and tell anybody about this.
Yeah. Well, you just told everybody.
Well, I guess now I told everybody. Yeah, 5 years hindsight.
There you go. You're welcome for the platform.
But yeah, that's like a kind of ace that doesn't really excite you. It almost makes you mad. Like you chose now to go in the cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Russ has a half a hole in one.
Yeah, I have one, but it has a huge asterisk on it because it was at River Valley. They hold a par 3 tournament every year where they set up every hole like a par 3. So it was from have you played there?
I've played the course, but not in the par 3 setting. That sounds kind of fun.
So the third hole, which ironically is a par 3,
Yeah.
they set that up from the fourth tee box.
As a 20-yard
So it was
chip
like
downhill.
it was probably a 60-yard half wedge.
Oh, they put it on
went
the
in.
front side of the fourth tee box, but yeah. I mean, it's still a tough shot because that green slopes like
That
6
green-
degrees
that
away
green-
from you
I
at
was
that
to say,
point.
that green does not accept balls from that direction. So
From any direction, actually, in my opinion. But
It did go in. It won a skin in the tournament as a hole-in-one, but I have a huge asterisk on that. I'll feel better when I have a real one. So,
just got to keep playing.
yep. All right.
All right, I'll do stars. I'll start. My third star of the week is Sergio Garcia. His first win since the 2017 Masters. And guy showed some serious BDE coming down the stretch. Hit that fairway wood into the par 5 to like 3 feet to make eagle. And then he was tied coming up 18. He had I think he had 171 in. And he hit it to like a foot and a half. It was like, that was nice. That was nasty. Like to be in that moment where like you haven't won since 2017.
Do you think when you've won that much in your life like he has, because you figure, I know on the PGA Tour he hasn't had that many wins, but you think about the 18 years of his life before, the guy knows how to win. Do you think when you go almost 3 years without that feeling or even that being in contention down those last couple holes, do you think it feels like it did 20 years ago
Yes.
for him, or do you think it is
I was gonna say, I bet you
a
those
friend
guys,
that he's-
if you don't win in a year, you're probably
You do it. You compete too at golf. Like that feeling never goes away and that excitement. Let's not forget that the next 2 majors are at Augusta.
unless
Yeah.
you're Dustin Johnson.
Huge confidence builder going into Augusta. Just knowing that you can put it
which
away.
we know he puts good numbers up there. I mean,
Yeah.
He puts up high numbers there too.
well,
He's got a green
It's
jacket. That's
Augusta.
all that matters.
Not a fan, but it's a good start. It's a good one. Speaking of people and teams I'm not a fan of, I hate the Yankees. Last week I gave LeBron credit, so this week I'll give a Yankee credit. Giancarlo Stanton, finally healthy. He's struggled with injuries big time the last couple of years, but they're playing tonight. But through the first 4 games of the postseason for them, he has 5 home runs, 11 RBI. His 5 home runs in the first 4 playoff games, it ties him with Juan Gonzalez for the record, most home runs first 4 playoff games of a year. So,
did you see that home run? That thing
The
came
one
off of the
last night.
launch angle of like
Which one?
4 degrees. The first one that he hit.
the home run?
The home run, yeah.
If you
Last night?
yeah.
The one last night? Yeah.
That's what sorry.
So I believe they said in the Statcast era, there's been like, shit, I don't know what this number.
Which I
is.
still didn't believe it. They
It's-
said it only went like 458, and I'm like,
Well, that's
but
Because it got
ran into a
interrupted
wall.
by a whole lot of
that's
stuff.
a different
Yeah.
that's a different topic. Yeah, But in the Statcast era, I think whatever the number was, it was relatively low. It was like 20 balls have been hit over 118 miles an hour, and he has half of them, something like that, which is a crazy number.
I love seeing the track. They don't call it that, but I love seeing the TrackMan numbers whenever they pull them up.
Yeah.
Even last night when I was watching, they went kind of above and beyond. And I don't watch a lot of baseball coverage, but they were showing the specific pitchers the way that they grip balls for pitches. And one guy was talking about carpal tunnel and how he can't hold his,
Right.
I think his 4-seam fastball. He can't hold it right. And it's just really interesting when you start to look into that. You think that they're just throwing sequences, and you realize that they're trying to throw a lot of different pitches and make them look the same, like tunneling and all this stuff. That
Yep.
there's a lot more to that game than meets the eye.
Yes. Yeah. So, Stanton, tearing it up so far. My 3rd star.
my 3rd star is Ian Anderson, pitcher for the Braves, 22. His first 2 postseason starts ever, 11 2/3, no runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 17 Ks, and 2 wins.
A lot of strikeouts in that series.
Yes. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
through
first
7
one he
innings
threw,
today, there was 21 strikeouts between
yeah,
two
so
teams.
he had 8 Ks in his first start, and he had 9 today.
All right.
My 2nd star is also Stanton. You basically rambled it off.
My bad.
No, it's fine. I just want to add to it. As a Yankee fan, I will admit that I thought Stanton was a complete waste of money. So in the round 1 of the playoffs, when he hit that home run, when they were already up like 70, I'm like, this is like an A-Rod-esque move for Stanton. Like,
Oh, hit one that doesn't matter.
yeah, hit when it doesn't matter. But then, yeah, to his credit, against Tampa, he's hit home runs that have
Yeah.
mattered. So
He's a massive asset when he's healthy.
He struggled.
He has struggled the last 2 years with the injuries.
I think that's my biggest thing is like they spent a lot of money on him and he's never healthy.
He's really struggled with the Yankees.
Just staying
for
healthy.
4 years he's been there, whatever he's been there. So
last year I didn't even want. I was a firm. I'm like, this guy shouldn't even be on the playoff roster. Shouldn't have been, but it was one of those things where you spend that much money on him. Who decided that? Did upper management?
right.
Was that up to Boone or was that up to somebody else that said, no, you will play him because we spent this much money on him?
Yep. My second star, Odell Beckham Jr., finally had his breakout game with the Browns. He actually rushed the ball twice for 73 yards and a touchdown. Wow. And he had 5 receptions for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's all-purpose total, 154 yards, 3 touchdowns. To me, anytime a receiver, running back, whatever, scores 3 touchdowns, that's a pretty massive game. So
congrats to the Cowboys in setting a record of allowing 307 yards.
So I did hear a stat this week. The Cowboys have not. I'm gonna get this wrong. Let me.
While you're looking that up, you got Dak. Still throws 502 yards, 4 touchdowns, absolutely tearing it up, and they still can't win.
500 yards.
Wah, wah.
I actually think I looked this up the other day.
Yeah, bazinga.
The Browns' total offensive yards was only like 15 to 11 yards more than all of Dak's.
Yeah. Right, and Mayfield only threw for 166 yards.
He never throw. He's only averaging 180 a game.
Of course, one of those big touchdowns for Beckham, it was like a 50-yarder, was Landry throwing a ball.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, stat December 23rd of 2018 was the last time the Cowboys won a game where they didn't score over 30 points.
Wait, say that again?
They let 2008 December of 18 was the last time the Cowboys won a game where they didn't score over 30 points.
Jesus.
So basically their defense
sucks.
Yep.
Best defense is a good offense.
In that case, then their offense must be
not
bad.
when you give up 49 points.
Yeah.
I'm just here to spit cliches, right? Isn't that what I'm here for?
I mean, they basically gave up
to look pretty off camera.
More than twice the average of the team.
Check.
Of the Browns. The Browns weren't averaging that many points a game. They get basically, it was like twice of what they're actually averaging.
Right. I don't know the exact number, but didn't they give up like 288 yards after Chubb got hurt rushing?
I don't know.
It was some crazy number that after Chubb got hurt.
It's 307 yards total.
Well, Beckham ran for 73 yards.
Right,
so maybe. Yeah.
So my second star is, who is the Ottawa Senators? Alex Trebek announced.
This was great.
Alex Trebek announced the third pick for the Ottawa Senators last night, which Russ already named Tim Stoltze. So I thought that was a pretty good gesture by the Senators to have Trebek do that.
I did see that. I haven't watched the video, though.
I think he's Canadian.
He is.
Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said German.
No, the kid was.
No,
Trebek is Canadian.
Trebek is Canadian, yeah.
So
I think Trebek's from the Ottawa area.
So they brought him in. Yeah. Stutzle, yes. He's German.
Wie heißt du?
Yeah.
What do you call him? What's his last name?
That's all we know.
Let's drink vodka. I've had a good time.
Stutzel? Stutzel or Stutzle? I don't know yet.
My first star is close to what you said. It was the Browns for the 307 yards rushing.
Yeah. That's a big number.
That is a really big number.
Yep. Excellent. My first star is Holly Holm. Holly Holm fought Saturday night, still over on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. She had a unanimous decision over Irene Aldana, and she kicked the shit out of her. This wasn't a close fight. I don't know if you watched the replay of it.
I haven't watched it yet.
So Holm had 187 total strikes landed, and going into this, Irene Aldana statistically had the best takedown defense in all of the women's UFC fighters. So there are 2 weight divisions.
This was 3 rounds.
This was 5-round main event. So Aldana, again, statistically the best takedown defense in women's MMA. Holly had 5 takedowns. I believe she had 1 takedown every round. So that was kind of the big question going into this. Could Holm get the fight to the ground if she wanted against Aldana? And she clearly did. But those 187 total strikes landed. It was, again, not a close fight at all. Almost looked like the Adesanya fight, without the
Yeah,
knockout.
I heard it was the best she's looked since she
Yeah.
knocked out Ronda.
I would agree with that. She pushes off the retirement talk. She is getting up there in age, so naturally that talk starts to creep in. But I think she's one of the, the good people, if you will, in the UFC, and I would like to see her take another run at the
title
belt. And if she keeps fighting the way she did Saturday night, she could do that. So, Holly Holm, my first star.
So my first star, I guess I'll pull on the heartstrings a little more. The San Jose Sharks last night with the 31st overall picked Ozzy Weisblatt, but they actually signed the pick because his mom is deaf. So they signed the pick so that she was able to understand who they were picking. So
That's cool.
Thought that was pretty neat.
Yep.
You got a dud?
Yeah, I do. I didn't have one, and then as we got talking, you guys made it pretty clear when I was telling you about my day that I am the dud. So it's not even sports related. It's just my day. Here in New York, we had one of those fall days where you wake up and it's a bluebird day. Looks like it's gonna be 70, and then at 10 a.m. it's raining.
Yep.
So you pack everything up and you go, this day's a wash. I can't get anything done. And then you're in your car about to leave, and then what's it do? Bluebird day. So I go about my business, and I'm on a job site, and I'm working on a weeping cherry tree, which it's not really that important. It's just a cherry tree that you pull the arms down, they all start to sag like a willow.
Okay.
And I'm under the tree, and as I go to get out of said tree, not in the tree, next to the tree, there's this post, like a hitch post. It's like 2 inches in diameter, and it's got a light on top of it, and the light's kind of flickering. It's afternoon, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's just turning on. No big deal. And it's
like
wet.
noon.
No, it's like 4 in the afternoon. It's wet and slippery, and as I go to walk out, my boot slips. I slip in, hit my head on the hitch post, and grab said hitch post with my hand. Turns out the light is flickering because it's leaking electricity everywhere. So not only did I hit my head on the temple, I got shocked at the same time. Double whammy.
That's why he was grinning earlier.
I'm the dud of the week. Or that poll.
No, it's you.
It's definitely you.
It's you.
Thanks.
Listen,
It's an honor. I love it.
to avoid being the dud, just maybe do a little more homework so you don't have to be the dud and find
I don't mind it.
Yeah, if going forward, if you don't have a dud for the week, we're going to ask you how your day was. There's got to be a story there. So bring a dud for the week.
You just admitted that you like hearing about my life.
Yes,
so I'm just going to start.
I don't want to
texting you
embarrass you
like
every
crazy.
episode,
Right.
though.
Yeah, but Russ is going to do a lot of research to make sure you're not the dud. He doesn't want to know about your day, so he's going to do a lot of research to make sure he finds one.
I enjoyed the story.
Wish it was there.
I just want to
Yeah.
see the
I would
weeping
have taken a
cherry
video
tree.
and laughed at him.
I didn't know there was a thing as a
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
weeping
look-
I'm about
cherry
to
tree.
show you in about 30 seconds.
I would have made
Bet
sure he
your
was
ass I
all right
took care.
first, and then I would have laughed. You all
It's
right?
all right. We all know the insurance guy, so
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Good episode. Again, 3starrecruits.com.
Yep.
And check out the other podcasts for your betting advice, DFS Units. Till next week,
See you.
if I'm not in the hospital,
Oh, yeah.
We'll start figuring this shit out.